Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Dear Herbalist. Tonight we are continuing on with a series called Confessions of an Herbalist. My name is Justaria, and if you are new here, you are most certainly welcome. And if you are a returning listener, thank you for your continued support and your comments. I most certainly appreciate everything that you guys do for me. Encouragement, sharing your stories. Let's stay connected. Like I said, I'd like to build a community. And if you want to continue to learn, go over to my website at www.thedemystifiedherbalist.com. Now, tonight we're going to dive into something every herbalist has felt at least maybe once in their lifetime or in their herbal career. That moment when you hand someone a tea or a tincture or an herbal formula and it just doesn't seem to work. Dum dum dum. And so we're going to talk about that sinking feeling that you might have failed as an herbalist, but we know you have not. And we're going to continue on in just a minute to tell you why and how. So, as always, get your pens, notebooks, notepads, back of a receipt, whatever. Go ahead and grab some notes, grab some warm tea, and let's sit down tonight and have a conversation. And hopefully my goal is to encourage you as an herbalist to continue to move forward and understand why sometimes these type of things typically happen in our world, and what you can do about it. All right. So if you have ever been there, please, first thing to understand is that you are not alone. Let's talk about why herbs sometimes don't work. All right, I'm going to normalize the fact that herbs don't always give those instant predictable results. Even the best formulists, the phytopharmacologists out there, sometimes the herbs can be unpredictable, and there's a lot of reasons why. Number one, individual differences. Everybody's body chemistry, digestive capacity, their lifestyle, stress levels, what they're eating, these all can affect how they respond to a remedy. There really is no such thing as a one size fits all, because of that reason. Number two, underlying causes. Sometimes the herb is right, you've actually chosen the right herb, but the root issue is more complex and requires multiple interventions. Number three, dosage and form. A tincture may be, perfect for one person, but it might not be the best form for another person. Maybe a tea or capsule or topical application would work better in this situation than somebody just popping a tincture under their tongue. So consider your dose and your form, making sure that it's just enough. Consider the body weight of the person as well as the age. And then the other one is consistency. Herbs really need time and consistent use to show effects. And so when people think about herbal remedies, oftentimes they just want something quick. They want a quick fix. And when that doesn't happen, it feels like a failure. Like, for example, one of my remedies I had given to a client one time, and I promised this lady she couldn't have used it more than 2 days. And she's like, oh, well, it didn't work for me. And so in my mind, earlier on, I was like, oh, no, she's probably not going to trust me to recommend anything else. Or, I went through all of that in my head. But at the end of the day, I had to realize that, for this particular type of thing, it's a topical, it's going to take some time. And are you following the instructions? Are you doing it as often as I say? Are you doing the exact amount? What other barriers is it having to get to in order to even get to the nerves? So there's a lot of things, and I had to do some self-talk to encourage myself and say, you know what? There's a lot of factors. And so it's not that your stuff didn't work. Maybe it was just that it didn't work for her, or there were some underlying issues there. But the nature of botanical medicine is the unpredictability sometimes of it. So you have to understand that that can happen sometimes, and this is the reason why they don't work. So understanding these factors helps us to separate our feelings from the actual effectiveness of the medicine. So when you have a miss, that doesn't mean that you're a bad herbalist. It often means that the process just needs some sort of an adjustment somewhere along the way. The other thing I would talk about is managing your expectations. So how do you manage your expectations as well as your clients? Let me give you a few strategies. And I will tell you, people have some pretty crazy expectations when it comes to herbal medicine. Now, from the allopathic side, they'll, take a pill and it may take a couple weeks to take effect, or they may take a pill and it could take, 2 days to take effect, or they may take a really strong pill and it works immediately. But for some reason, and they understand those like ebbs and flows of pharmaceuticals, right? But for some reason, when they come over to plant medicine, it's like it's supposed to work immediately, right now, target the issue, one and done, and that's it. It doesn't work like that. So we have to help our clients, first of all, help ourselves manage our expectations, and then help them manage theirs. So how do you do that? Number one, set realistic timelines. Make sure that your clients know how long an herb might take to work and what signs to watch out for. And sometimes it's better to err on the side of it may take a little bit longer than they expect versus it's going to happen immediately. So I'd rather have somebody say, well, you told me it could take effect after a week or so, but within a couple of days, I really started feeling the effects. I'm like, you know what? Great. Awesome. Number two, educate your clients about the variability. So explain to them that the same herb can act differently in different bodies. And knowing this information is it's very strong, it's power, right? And it reduces frustration. We are not all the same. Our physiology is not all the same. Our chemical makeup, everything within our bodies are not the same. Even if you came out of the same womb as someone else, you still have different physiology than that person. So herbs can act differently. So you could say, well, I gave it to my cousin and it worked for them, but for some reason it didn't work for me. Well, you have totally different bodies. And once the herb hits the bloodstream and hits the system, it can act differently depending on which body it's in. For you, you may be, have a lot of toxins in the blood, or you may have some other comorbidities that come into play. So, it's different for each person. So we have to make sure to educate our clients on that. Number three, use measurable outcomes. So you want to encourage your clients to track their symptoms, their mood, or their energy levels. And this doesn't have to be anything deep. They can really just put it in their phone notes. That way, the next time they talk to you, they can just read out of their phone if they don't want to write it down or keep a log. But any small improvements that you notice are progress, even if the ultimate goal isn't reached immediately. That says that the client is responding to the herbs are actually in there doing the work. So even small improvements are better. Let's say if you have a client that has a lot of arthritis and, was kind of stricken to the bed, now they're able to get up a little bit. They may not be able to walk too far, but they dang sure can walk a lot farther than they did before they met you, and your remedies. That is progress. So celebrate even the small, wins. And then the other thing is number 4, check your own mindset. All right. Remember, you're providing, remember, you are providing guidance and support. So your value isn't tied or measured by a single outcome. So don't put your value in whether or not that actually worked for somebody. You're still at the end of the day providing guidance and support. It's up to the person to follow the remedy. It's up to the body and the herbs to determine how they're going to interact with each other. That's just something that we can't control. We can try to predict to the best of our ability, but we can't control that. Now, how do we turn our misses into wisdom? Every time a remedy doesn't work as expected, it really is an opportunity to learn. So you got to ask yourself, did I choose the right herb in the right form? Well, actually, you got to ask yourself first and foremost, did I properly assess the client's condition? Or did they just come to me and say, hey, I got diabetes, high blood pressure, and this is what's going on, and give me a remedy for that? Or did you take the time to really properly assess the client's condition, all factors, all aspects, and ask the right questions? That is one of the first and most important things that you have to do, because understanding what the underlying cause is and the root of it is, that drives what type of herbs you're going to use, what type of formulation you need. And especially when you're talking about a deeper level of formulation, you want to know what type of biochemical pathways are involved and receptors and all that kind of stuff. So you want to make sure that the chemicals in the herbs are actually hitting those targets like it needs to. So the first and most important thing, make sure that you make the right assessment of their health. What is actually the imbalance in the body? What are the patterns that you are seeing inside of the body? Is it a pattern of heat? Okay. Is it a pattern of, let's say, stress? Is there a pattern of a lot of moisture and mucousy type things in the body? Look for these things. Okay. Don't just go off of the client's word. Take that in consideration, but also ask some additional questions to really help them uh, tell you what's been going on, and then help you to be able to make an assessment of, okay, boom, this is what's wrong. Once you have that, then the next question is, did I choose the right herb and in the right form? So let's say you have a client that may have some joint issues and these type of things. Now, if you want to do a topical, let's say some sort of ointment that they can rub on their achy joints and things like that, and you feel like that would be the best form to administer this particular herbal formulation in, then do that. But some, okay, especially when you're talking about chronic long-term issues, sometimes they may need it in a capsule form or pill form. So if, for example, if it's like an acute situation, coughs, colds, that type of thing, then they may need a higher dosage of, let's say, a tea or something like that for a shorter period of time, or they may need a lower dosage for a longer period of time if it's a chronic issue. So you want to take those type of things into consideration. You don't want to give somebody a tea that might be better off with a tincture. So keep those things in mind. The other thing is, did you consider the client's lifestyle and environment? Because I tell people all the time, their herbs can do amazing things. They are a blessing truly from the Most High. But if you don't change your lifestyle, I always go back to the person that I spoke with that he talked to me about having COPD and, what herbs could work for that. So I was talking to him about the different herbs and what they could do and all that. But I asked him, I said, do you have any intentions of stop smoking? And he said, no. Okay. So I had to explain to him that the chemicals and things like that in the cigarettes that he's smoking will continue to irritate and continue to exacerbate his condition. So at that point, I just had to give him the information. He wasn't really interested in hearing anything else from me, and that's fine, but I had to give you the information at the end of the day. So you want to consider your client's lifestyle. Okay, are they a stress eater? Do they smoke? Do they drink? Do they eat a lot of junk? Are they eating at all? Like, some people don't eat at all. So you want to know what their lifestyle is like, their environment. Are they, near some kind of smoky plant? Do they work in the mine? You want to know what type of environment that they are in, because that'll help you with your overall assessment as well. And then finally, you want to know, are there other supporting strategies that you can use? Sometimes people just focus on the plant or the herb, right? But you can look at diet. You can look at movement. That's really big with our seniors. Movement, okay? Getting things circulating, getting that stagnation moving. Sleep. You might find that after you talk to them for a while, they have a high stress job. They don't barely sleep. They're stressed to the max. They're trying to make a dollar out of 15 cents, as the song used to say. They are stressed to the max. All of these things come into play sometimes with clients, and you really do have to take that in consideration with your formulation so that you can give them some additional support during those times as well. And during all of this, okay, with your clients or family, friends, whoever, document some of these reflections in your client's notes. That way, over time, these observations will make your business sharper, more intuitive, and more effective. Because every miss, it becomes a building block for your herbal knowledge. It helps you to learn more and grow more. And if you don't put that pressure on yourself to know everything from the beginning, then you'll say, you know what, I'm a human being. I'm doing the best I can. I'm not going to let you or anyone else, put me up here with the heavens. And, I'm not perfect, but I'm going to do the best that I can to educate myself and to give you the best information that I can, and to teach you to educate yourself, right? So that we can come up together with a plan together. All right. Now, so I'm going to give you some additional practical tips. These are a few actionable tips to help keep you confident in your business, even when the results are unpredictable. All right. Number one, keep a journal. Keep an herbal journal. Record what you've used, the dosage, record the client's response, record any patterns that may emerge over time. Number two, stay humble and stay curious. because sometimes the body teaches us lessons that we do not expect. I sat in this herbal conference one time and I listened to this woman talk about her experience in working with a client, and she admitted that she was a very arrogant herbalist and she just knew better than this woman who came to her for help. And so she very arrogantly made recommendations that ended up doing way more harm to the client than good. And to this day, basically the client wants nothing to do with her as a result of that. But what she said she learned from that was that she was arrogant, that she put herself in a position to be the end all be all for the client, and it backfired on her. So when I say stay humble, I can't stress that enough. I cannot stress that enough. Sometimes language puts us in a position where we get arrogant like that. I don't, because I try to stay humble as much as I can and not feel like, oh, I know everything, because I know that I don't, right? I know that I don't. We all don't know it all. So if you ever get tempted, just because you know three more things about the plants than the person across from you that you're helping, always keep in mind that you don't know everything and you can possibly make a mistake, because at the end of arrogance could be a potential lawsuit if you're not careful because it's blinding. Arrogance is very blinding, and you miss things when you come from a place of, I am a god and you are a plebeian coming to me to get assistance. This is how you miss things and miss very important things. So I was grateful to her for sharing that amongst the herbalist group, because I feel like there are some people out there that are like that, that they're very arrogant, or because they have master in front of the word herbalist, it's like, they're floating on clouds or something like that. And it's like, come on, be humble and be curious. Okay? Because sometimes the body teaches us lessons that we don't even expect. So that's the beauty about it. That's one of the things that I love about herbal medicine, is because no one day in herbal medicine is ever the same. And just when you think you've learned one thing, then as soon as you start researching and studying, you start going down a rabbit hole that is so deep, it just seems like there's never an end. And the information is like piling up. So sometimes if I get overwhelmed, I just have to stop for a second. And I'm like, okay, I'm not even processing information at this point. I'm just trying to like stuff it in my head and hope that somewhere along the way I'll remember it, So sometimes I can get like that. But that is the beauty of herbal medicine, just staying humble and staying curious, because there's always something new to learn. And you'll be surprised. You really will be surprised what you learn about yourself, from others, as well as from plants. Another thing is connect with the community. So share your experiences with other herbalists. We all have stories of that one formula that did not work. Okay, trust me. And if they don't have a story, wait a few years, they're going to have a story for you. Because we all have those stories. I know, in the beginning, I always tell you guys that story of when I first got started. I was like, okay, what you got? Oh, inflammation. Okay, boop, 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 boop. Let me go type in what's good for inflammation. 12 herbs pop up, and I'll throw 12 herbs in the formula, okay? I didn't care whether it was bitter or not. I'm like, hey, it may be a little bitter, but just go ahead and drink it. And they're like, I gotta chug down this big old drink of very bitter strong tea. I didn't think at the time at all about client compliance. Didn't care nothing about that. I was just like, you got inflammation. I really want that gone out of you, probably more than you do. So one of these 12 herbs is gonna hit the trick. So don't do that, okay? Learn from my mistakes. Do not do that. But if you do that, understand that, again, it's a part of the journey. And I thank the Most High that my ignorance at the time didn't kill anyone. Everybody that came to me at that time still have all their faculties, and probably have gone on to be very great, citizens of America. But, I'm so grateful for grace. Let's just say that. So grateful for grace, because I made a lot of mistakes in the beginning, just because I didn't know, and I didn't give myself grace either. I felt very bad, but then I had to learn over time. It humbles you. The more you research about plants, you get humbled. Okay. If the more you research about plants and the more you know about plants, you get a sense of piety and arrogance to yourself, then you're doing it wrong. Then you're doing it wrong, because I don't know how you couldn't study anything about the human body, how it works, as well as plants and how they work, and even some of the intricacies of it, and still come out feeling like, yeah, I know everything there is to know. Like, no, you still don't know. You still don't know. Even if you study 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years, you still, that's not even the tip of the iceberg, right? So just keep that in mind. But connect with a community is very important. If you don't have a community in your area, because some people have reached out to me and they said, I live in a rural area, these type of things, connect with me. Connect with the people that are on this podcast. Go into my comments. People are writing responses all the time. Join in on the conversation. After this, give me some information, things that have helped you as well. Let's build a community of herbalists that really want to learn and really want to share, not be arrogant, and not be, not put people down and that type of stuff. I'm not tolerating any of that. But let's build a community together, even if you're in a rural area, small town, small part of the country, or in your country, in a whole nother country, just connect, connect. And if you guys want to build a Facebook group and all that, let me know as well. I can definitely create one, and we can start building our community there of not just like-minded individuals, but people that are really interested in learning and sharing and growing and just can appreciate what this medicine offers, not worship the medicine, but really just appreciate what the Most High has given to us, and being able to utilize that to be facilitators of the healing process in people. So keep that in mind. If that's something you're interested in, let me know. I will absolutely create it. And then the last thing for practical tips is follow up with your clients. Sometimes a small tweak or change in dosage is really all that's needed. Okay, let's say they're not taking it enough, or let's say you didn't factor in their weight, or you didn't factor in their age, or you didn't factor in, let's say for women, their cycles and things that happen around that time. So sometimes just a little tweak in the dosage, they may need a little bit more. Or sometimes if it's working too quick, too good, you may need to scale it back just a hair, right? But the follow-ups also show that you care, and it's also a sign of professionalism. All right. It doesn't mean that you have to meet with that person every day, in and out. Trust me, as an herbalist, you'll get very overwhelmed very quickly doing that. But if they understand, okay, I'll follow up with you once a week or twice a week, depending on what the situation is and what the case is, if you give them those expectations, they'll know to say, okay, she talked to me today, so I probably won't hear from her for another couple of days. Or if I'm further along in my plan, she may only reach out to me once or twice a month to check in, but I can always, reach her if I have any questions and things like that, or him, depending on which herbalist, is doing the work, right? Don't want to leave our men out. They're doing some great work out there as well. So let's summarize tonight's key takeaways. Number one, herbs are powerful, but results can vary, and individual differences do matter. There is no one size fits all. Okay. 2, a remedy not working doesn't mean that you have failed. It is a part of a learning process. So it says, okay, there's something here that you missed, so you need to know it. That way for the next person, or even within this same client, you'll know going forward what to do, what to change, and what to tweak. It's all about perspective. Number 3, manage expectations, yours as well as your clients. This is very important for a very healthy, long, strong, stable business, period. If you always expect that it's going to be sunshine and ponies and things start raining on your parade, then you're going to have problems. You always have to, I always tell my kids, stay in the middle, especially in certain decisions and things like that. Don't go all over to the deep end, excited about one thing, or don't be so cynical, so far on the deep end on the other, or just like, no, it can't happen. None of that. Just stay down the middle. Stay down the middle. Manage expectations. Okay? It's very important for your life, but also for your business as well, so that your clients don't feel like, you set these such high expectations, you never meet them, then they start questioning your effectiveness. And then eventually you'll start questioning your own effectiveness. So keep everything, no matter how they feel, no matter I can't lose this client or I don't want them to, look at me like I'm not credible. At the end of the day, it's like I've told you the real. This is the time frame that this could happen in. Okay, it may not be 24 hours like you would like it, but hey, you know, especially clients that want the herbs for the weight loss, because I know a lot of people are using the O word. I'm not going to give them publicity, but people are using that particular medicine to help lose weight and things like that, and they're coming across some issues. So now they're like, oh, well, what kind of herbs can I use to just, drop weight really quickly and all that kind of stuff. And it's like, so we want to skip past the dietary plan. We want to skip past exercise, and we want to run straight to what can I pop in my mouth to drop weight so quickly. I was reading somewhere a lady said, if you want to lose 20 pounds quick, cut off your arm. Now I thought that was pretty crass, and I wouldn't recommend that. But I really sat down and thought about it one day, and I was like, as cruel as that is, she was really trying to get people to understand, like, there is no quick fix. You didn't get like that overnight, right? It took some time, so it's going to take a little time. All right? So manage expectations, back to my point. And then lastly, every miss is a chance to grow your expertise. It's a chance to refine your approach and deepen your understanding. When I started out mixing all those different herbs together, not at one point in time was I thinking about herb interaction. I wasn't thinking about synergy. I wasn't thinking about any of that. I wasn't thinking about targeting biochemical pathways. None of that stuff came to my mind. I was just like, oh, it's an inflammation. I'm going to throw it all in there and something's going to hit. But over time, I've come to really study and understand, like, okay, how is it that this chemical from this plant really works with our body? And so it piqued my curiosity, and I just kind of ran with it from there. So again, stay curious, but understand that you'll have to refine your approach over time, and you'll have to deepen your understanding. You'll have to study a little bit more, and that's okay. Herbal medicine is as much about listening, observing, and adjusting as it is about the herbs themselves. So remember, confidence doesn't come from perfection. It comes from experience, it comes from curiosity, and it comes from compassion. So be encouraged. Don't jump off the off the train, okay? Get back. If you did jump off, get your hips back on the train. Okay, get back on the herbal medicine train. Let's keep this train rolling, because we are needed so badly right now. We are needed, and people in your community need you. I don't care if you only know one herb or two herbs. I don't care if you just know a good stomach remedy, or if you know something that'll help people that have ear infections. Get out there and push herbal medicine, because people are going to need it. If you're watching the news, if you're reading about prescription drug costs, if you're reading all of this stuff that's going on right now, and that really has been going on. I know people like to fearmonger, but it's like this stuff, if you're paying attention to society, this stuff has been going on, right? People losing jobs, people losing money. And so people are trying to figure out what to do. They're trying to figure out how to take care of their families. They're trying to figure out how to address their health issues now that, let's say, their insurance is cut off. Now what are they going to do? So now more than ever, it's not time to jump off the herbal medicine train and, lick your wounds. It's time to hop back on, recalibrate, refocus yourself, and say, okay, I know a few things that I can share. So I'll get on the internet. I'll talk to the people in my community. If they have a show or some kind of vendor fair, I'll, create some zines and just start educating people as much as I can. Get involved in the movement. Okay, get involved in the movement. And if you want to continue to learn more and understand more about plants, and you're like, okay, I have no idea where to start. This is just all an overwhelming process. I don't even know where to begin. I'm going to encourage you to begin with my website. Okay? Begin with my website at www.thedemystifiedherbalist.com. Go on there under the herbalist section. Start there and move your way to the right. That's the best advice that I can give you. There are tons and tons of pages of information. Take notes. Study it like you're a student, because we all are. Okay? And this is free information. All right? But go on there, learn all that you can, and then continue on with your research. Research the studies, understand the human body, all of these things. Don't get caught up in the TikTok fancy talkers. Do the research, okay? But most importantly, stay curious, keep moving forward in confidence, stay rooted and grounded. And until next time, family, I'm out.